Hi, Tommy. How are you? I'm very well, thanks. Okay. Um, growing up in a haunted house in my early years, I think was one of those cornerstones in getting me to where I am now. I was at a very young age. I wasn't I wasn't led into anything by my parents or anything. We weren't told that the house had any type of activity. Um, and lo and behold, then that was the place that I seen my first spirit climb the stairs and frightened the absolute living hell clean out of me. But yeah, so that was the first experience that probably led me in this path. Um, well, of course, they were coming over to Ireland. They needed someone on the ground here. And I was recommended by a few friends in Washington, D.C. And that was it. So they came across to Ireland, England. They filmed those shows. And then GHI was the spin off. I got a phone call from LA and asked if I wouldn't mind being part of the spin off show. And then I said, yeah, sure. And that was it. I would imagine at around 50 to 60 countries, I would imagine. Oh, I like Puerto Rico down in the Caribbean. I like Belize. Um, New Zealand was cool. It's just so far away. It takes 27 hours to get there. And it's a great place, great people, but just so far away. I love South Africa. Where I had a great time there. And where else now? Peru. Oh, I love Peru. Peru's full of mystery. I absolutely love that place. The last time I was there, I took the opportunity to fly over the Inca or the Nazca lines, and got to experience all of that. And I see my first UFO in Peru. So I made sure and got some photography or photo footage of that episode. Oh no, that's just for my personal collection. um, I like the photography. I enjoy the photography. I like showing people the way that I see the world. And sometimes I could go for months and not photograph anything. And there are times that whenever I go to a country, I could take the camera everywhere and constantly be taking photographs. And there are times that I will go to some countries and not take one photograph because I'm not inspired by what I see. And that can happen from time to time. Um, but uh, but I do enjoy the writing as well. And the book that I'm involved with at the moment is taking me to places that are outside of my comfort zone, and have taken me to places which physically have been extremely dangerous to get the research. So that's been interesting. It's been a great adventure, I have to say. But it's an adventure that I warn people at the beginning: do not follow this research, because it is extremely dangerous. Oh, no, physically, it's dangerous. Yes. let's say there's a mixture of both. Yes. The people who can't get a proper diet are more likely to be affected. I have noticed. Um, that is key. You see, our own immune system is our first line of defense. If that falters, then it becomes a problem. And I see different types of entity over the course of my years that will target people because of particular minerals which their body lacks, that they weren't aware of until it was brought to their attention. And once those minerals are brought back and realigned within the body, everything stops. It backs off and waits until it falters again. But the influence itself, was a book which was written because so much so directed toward this, so much so directed toward the suicides. Um, Ireland, of course, has got a huge suicide rate, um, and having a member of the family also take their own life, it was something which drove me forward to say, now it's time for this to be released. Because I was faltering back and forward. Should I do this? Should I not? Um, and that was the decision. That was the I suppose that was the thing that made me do it, to say, right, this needs to go out, because I seen the hurt and the pain that it caused, um, and I said, I have to do something about this. And I have got, so the feedback I got from it was remarkable. People have been extremely kind, and it has opened their eyes as well to see how sometimes these things can affect us. And it's something that within a modern, um, the modern day age, we don't even consider at this point. And yet we see people who get involved with paranormal research, and there's an insidiousness which can affect people, and eat groups from the inside out. And it's something that you need to be very, very aware of, and question your own actions as well as the actions of others. Oh yes, there are indeed. Um, there are good and bad, both ends of the scale. Um, in fact, even with the work with full spectrum technology, I have seen where some of the negative entities lie, what spectrums they lie in, and what spectrums some of the positive ones will lie in. And I know which types of light spectrum can affect either or other. Um, and it's a very strange thing, and we lose ourselves sometimes, especially within a Christian society, of I suppose angels and demons. We think that's it. That ain't it. There is much, much more to this universe than just one and the other. There are many different types, of entity out there that we can't even dream of yet. So, the search continues. But I always found that investigation teams, whenever they use the word, they go into a house and they'll say, "Oh, you've got a demon." That word in itself should be banned, because it's so insidious. It leaves a seed within the homeowner, even if there is none. It leaves a seed with the homeowner that can develop on its own, and that can be so damaging. It should be a word that should be banned from every ghost hunter's handbook. Um, and you know, another strange thing is that we've got so many new age developments coming forward with angel therapy. You know, the strange thing is the angels of old were just messengers. They didn't care much for us. They just simply delivered a message. And yet nowadays we've got angels which are everywhere and they're doing all these wonderful things. Well, they never did that before. So you know you have to ask, well, if it's not them, who is it? And likewise, you know, we need to be very, very cautious, because I'm aware of some religious orders who will promote speaking in tongues. Now, you need to be very careful of that, because people will say, oh, well, I'm being possessed by the Spirit of God. How do you know? Because I assure you, after reading, if people do choose to read the Dark Sacrament, you will find that a lot of the negativity can actually hide inside a church. It's the last place you think to go and look for it, and they will wait. So that is something to be very, very careful of. Oh, the fact that it's just me and a camera. Um, I enjoy my time. Um, just me. That's it. No, there's no one else. There's no cell phone. I have to say, I remember one occasion whenever I was up in the Carpathians in Transylvania, and it was just me and the camera. There was no cell phone coverage. There was nothing. No one could reach me. No one knew where I was. It was just me and the camera, and I was off for miles and miles. Of course, I get into so much trouble for it, but I love me time from time to time. Yeah. Mhm. I think that's it. It just flows. And I don't. I'm not one person who continually takes shots. 20, 30 shots of the one scene. I lift a camera and I take one or two shots, and that's it, and I move on. And what I get, and that's it. And because we can spend so much time looking for one thing, and we miss what else is going on around us. So yeah, I just you just feel it. You know it's right, and you take it. Not yet. There is a website being developed. It's charmstealer.com. And that is where they're going to be able to get some of the artwork. There was an exhibition opened in Lviv, in the Ukraine, last year, and that was an exhibition on the full spectrum photographs, exposing a beauty which is seen at night, which we can't obviously capture with the naked eye. And it had a great turnout. In fact, there was so many people ended up in the art gallery that they couldn't close the doors. It was packed too much, and we had a great evening. It was fantastic. Thank you. Max is he's a cross between a Danish Shepherd, and a Japanese Akita. I see that he has his father's head and his mother's tail. Uh, but now Max has got so tall that whenever, and because he stays in the house, of course, he I find that in the middle of the night he's sneaky and climbs onto the bed. And I wake up in the morning with a cold nose in my face. Um, or else he has huge claws on his paws, and I swear to God, it's like fighting a bear in the morning, because he just puts the paws onto the face and pulls the claw down, and you're left looking like a road accident, and so. He is going to be accompanying me on Tuesday to one of the investigations. This will be his first one, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he reacts. I know that there are things going on in this house that I'm in now. It's about 200 years old, but I know that he watches the things on the landing, and he doesn't. It doesn't seem to annoy him. He seems to be fine with it, but I know he's watching it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on Tuesday. There was a research study done by myself some time ago, and there were three animals that were more susceptible than others: horses, ferrets, and a particular breed of dog. Um, it was the black Labrador and golden Labrador, but the chocolate one was useless. Um, couldn't see a thing. um, I have to say I don't really get to see it here, unlike my other co-workers in the US. Um, where I am here in Ireland, it's off the GPS coordinates. I live in a horseshoe surrounded by forests and mountains, and I'm 6 miles from the coast. So I don't really get to see it here. I get to see it on Facebook and things like that. But for the most part, I could walk down the street and be left alone, and I'm fine. Sorry, my TV just switched on. Generally not. Whenever I came here first, I kept a flashlight beside the bed because I wasn't too sure what was going to happen. And for the most part, everything was okay until the one night that I had just built a walk-in wardrobe, and I had a metal rail with the coat hangers hanging on it. And I assure you that going to castles and mansions and investigating them looking for ghosts are one thing. But whenever they wake you up in the middle of the night and pull the curtain, or the rails, or the coat hangers across the metal rail, and it makes that squeaking noise, my heart was ready to jump out of my chest. And a deal was made that I will not do anything to them if they stay out of my room whenever the door is closed. And for the most part, I have to say that they do. They haven't annoyed me since. Now, the guests that stay here, well, they're fair game. And they have had their feet slapped, their heads slapped, the blankets tore off them, and they hear the footsteps running across the hallway, going to the bathroom, down the stairs, and everything. So I'm always very humbled, and gobsmacked. But very appreciative, of course, and I thank everybody that would be involved in that. But yeah, it's different, very different. I love walking. I love getting into nature, getting back to where I come from. I love history. Um, I love World War II history. I love the history of Ireland, of my ancestors. I love delving into that. Um, and trying to catch up with as many friends as I can whenever I finally get back is very, very important, because it's very easy to lose touch with people, especially whenever I travel so much. Um, and I've lost a lot of good friends because I wasn't able to keep in contact with them as much as they would have liked. But I have other friends there that once I arrive back, maybe for 6, 7 months at a time, um, we just pick up from where we left off. There's one guy that I see every Christmas. We go for a Christmas dinner, and we just start chatting from where we left off the year before, and that's great. It's great to have good people around you like that. Oh, I love everything. I'm very partial to trance music, believe it or not, trance and house. But then that's being very European. And I also like opera. I like classical. I love bluegrass. I love the energy with bluegrass. Folk music, Irish folk. I love it. Though some of it's awful. But yeah, for the most part, I can sit and listen to mainly anything except that heavy metal stuff, um, where they go and I have no idea what on earth they're saying, and the music's so loud that I just say no, I can't do that. I have to either walk out or switch it off or whatever. Well, everything's about vibration, and I don't, I can't really answer that question that you put forward there, but I can say that music can influence people, because with the natural rhythm that you find within classical music, will actually promote deep thought and creativity, where if you have trance and house, it's so all over the place that you can't get into a rhythm. Your brain pattern actually can't get into a particular rhythm, where classical music allows you to get into that creativity. So yes, it can affect people, but does it affect or attract spirit? I have no idea. But who knows? Yeah, GHI starts back in February, and I have a new book coming out with Dustin, hopefully the end of next week. It's called "So My House is Haunted, Now What?" And it looks at alternatives to those folks that have been told that their home is haunted, and what the next step would be, if that's the case. I'm also working on another book, which is near completion, and it's called "In the Mist of Gods." And that is the one which has been extremely dangerous, physically dangerous, to do. But it has taken me on such a journey, which has been an eye opener and a wonder to do. It's been exciting and exhilarating, and of course, stupidly dangerous at the same time. Well, I will be celebrating with my family. Um, I'm going to my sister's house, and she will have mum and dad down, and I'll be with the nieces and nephews, no doubt keeping them busy and playing hide and seek as the turkey's being prepared. Yes, get drunk. Apart from that, everything else is just the same.